Alright guys, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to a new video. Before we continue, I just want to address a question. Somebody recently asked, why aren't you showing your face in videos lately? I actually have been, but lately the California sun has been so intense that it's been zapping my battery while I'm recording, so I'd rather avoid that. So it is what it is. I'll be heading back to Virginia really soon, and I'll have access to my office, and you'll be able to see my face. But I want to talk in this video about why everybody's so fucking zapped. Why everybody's so tired all the time. This is something that as you increase your health levels, you're going to start to notice. You're going to start to notice how people seem fucking run down. You're going to start to be able to see the sickness when you climb yourself out of it. You see, when you're in the sickness, it's hard for you to see the sickness because you're part of it. In the true sickness, ladies and gentlemen, the true epitome of the sickness out here that everybody has is a mental disorder. I hate to say that. I'm not trying to judge people, but there's a misalignment of the mental faculties, which allows people to think that this is normal out here, the way people are behaving and the things that people think are normal, which are far from normal. I hope that makes sense. This is a really fucking weird reality, and the people are even weirder. What I mean by reality is the way things have been set up, the way that the matrix has been set up, the architecture, the engineering, the stores, the shop, the malls and all that stuff. The architecture of the matrix is strange enough, but to see people engaging in it like mice in some experiment, it's absolute fucking Twilight Zone level insane. And as you get well, as you start to take care of your body and your mind, you're going to start to separate yourself from the cultural, connection to this sickness. And you're going to start to realize that we do indeed live in a culture of death. I've been saying this for years. Before I had the Sacred Serpent YouTube channel, I had a different channel. And on that channel, for years, I preached about the fact that we're living in a culture of death. It is absolutely true, folks. So the key to getting well is to shift the perception. And in order to shift the perception, certain things have to be aligned. You can have a shift of perception by accident, such as but not limited to trauma. Certain states of trauma can actually force people's perception into a new gear, and you can see reality from a different angle, a different light. Or you can have at a young age, you can start to develop a thirst for thinking that something's wrong. And through that thirst, you can actually try to push the envelope and separate yourself from the cultural mass inertia of the masses. I hope that makes sense. So for many people, one of the greatest ways to get their mind right and pull it out of the cultural mass insanity is to enter into what Don Juan Matus called states of non-ordinary reality. And I'm not going to get into that in this video. We've discussed it in prior videos. Pick up some of Carlos's books. Read a little bit, read between the lines and do a little bit of digging. People sometimes will say, oh, you bring stuff up and you don't go into great detail about it. Well, obviously you haven't watched my videos because I've gone over this stuff extensively in hundreds of videos. And to be honest, I'm not here to just walk people through things. To a certain extent, the path of waking up, you have to take pieces of information and then build upon them on your own. This isn't like filling out a chart where, okay, you check off square B, check off square C, fill in the information, and sign along the dotted line. No. I've given out pieces of information that if you take into your heart and do something with a creative mind, you can really take some of these pieces of information that I talk about and do great things with them. But again, ladies and gentlemen, as you get well, as you flush your body with the minerals, as you work on building your body, as you get the gluten and the oils out of your system, as you put the right phytonutrients, etc., back into your system simultaneously, you're going to start slowly shifting the assemblage point, even if it's just slight shifts, and that's going to open up your perception a little bit. And if you continue to work on your build off of your progress, you can really achieve great things from a perceptual level, ladies and gentlemen. You can do things with your body that you're being told that are impossible, But again, you're going to have to do something with the information. A lot of people want to believe there's more to life. A lot of people want to believe that, Kundalini's real enlightenment, but they'll end up giving up because they don't get that instant gratification. So again, we've talked about this lesson as well a lot on this channel, and that is persistence. Persistence is key. You've got to keep hitting that wall until it finally breaks down so that you can see what's behind it. And usually there's another obstacle behind it. Again, we need to keep digging and digging and digging until we reach that bedrock, until we get to the gold. I hope that makes sense. So, and before we continue about getting well, I just want to say that getting well, it's not just, I take vitamin C and, I take magnesium and vitamin E or whatever the fuck. So many teachers out here are teaching health from the perspective of nutrients only. Nutrients, sunlight, grounding, and proper rest. There is so much more to health than that. And that's why I cannot stand, and I don't mean to sound judgmental, but I cannot stand a lot of these professional supplement salesmen who just want to sell you a version of health that is built purely on mundane physical things that just so happen to increase the financial size of the person selling it. I hope that makes sense. It didn't really come out the way I wanted it to. But I mean, enough's enough, ladies and gentlemen. You can take all the fucking vitamin D in the world. You can take all the fucking vitamin E in the world. You can take all of the fucking magnesium in the world, or Shazandra, or this, that, and the other, and still be a good goddamned idiot. Now, I'm not trying to sound judgmental, folks, but it's true. How many pills you take does not determine your intelligence level. It might influence it to some extent. But there is not a single, excuse me, folks. There is not a single supplement that you can buy at a store or online that is going to replace the benefit that comes from doing the inner work. I'm talking about calming the fucking thoughts down, slowing the mind down, doing the thoughtlessness exercise. No amount of magnesium is going to replace the benefit that comes from doing the thoughtlessness exercise so that you can see the archon's foreign installations in your mind. Magnesium, however, might allow you to relax a little bit and motivate you to do the thoughtlessness exercise, but enough's enough. We have got to learn to incorporate the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, and the physical work all simultaneously into one great alchemical art. And the goal of that alchemical art should be to push the boundaries of human consciousness and our limits here in the physical realm. We want to achieve enlightenment. That is the goal. That is the name of the game here, folks. Only through enlightenment will you be able to see reality and life through enlightened eyes. And enlightenment is a Kundalini process. Kundalini is just a name that we use to describe the biophysical, mental, emotional, spiritual process of fucking enlightenment. Some people like to refer to it as Christ consciousness. I often call it Uraeus like the Egyptians did, or Gnosis like the Gnostics did. Enough is enough. I'm tired of people selling health from a physical perspective. We need physical tools, but it doesn't just start and stop with fucking supplements and protocols, ladies and gentlemen. No. And that's how you can spot a charlatan from a million goddamn miles away. Why aren't people talking about magic? Magic is not pulling bunnies out of hats. Magic is the art of mental mastery, learning to control your programmed mind, which is the cause of either your quality life or lack thereof. Sorcery. Why is no one talking about sorcery? Sorcery and magic are very different. Magic is the art of controlling the mind. It's learning to take the reins of your mind, having ownership over your thoughts. To some extent, we can find this symbolized in the tarot trump card strength. the animal that the woman has tamed in that card represents the animal urges or the parts of our psyche that have yet to be tamed. She has tamed them. That is why the Rider-Waite symbolism of the Strength card is such a beneficial card, as well as the Thoth deck. Sorcery is the art of manipulation of the energy field by way of moving or shifting the assemblage point. This is called entering into non-ordinary states of reality, as Don Juan Matus would call it, the Yaqui Indian sorcerer who taught Carlos Castaneda throughout his books. This is called entering into altered states of consciousness, shifting the assemblage point. What the fuck is going on here, folks? We have an entire multi-billion-dollar industry, a supplement industry, and all these gurus out here teaching health that are doing it from purely physical bullshit. You know, what good is taking all these supplements to try to to ward off the aging process, for instance, if you have an unchecked mind that is causing you to have an emotional loop that is just chewing up all of your energetic reserves? You see, you have no clue how much stuff goes on behind what I like to call the curtain of the mind. Behind the curtain of your conscious mind, there's all of these processes that are taking place that are draining you of your energy. A lot of your unconscious processes, folks, are creating emotional loops that are draining you because your mind always reacts to your emotions. If you have strong emotions that are negative, you get depressed. You think about those emotions. You react to them through thoughts, and it fucking drains you like a vampire. So I'm glad you took all the vitamin E. I'm glad you took the vitamin D or did whatever the fuck you did. But ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't just start and stop there. It doesn't just start and stop there. So learning how to control the thoughts, learning how to We do that through learning how to listen to our thoughts, and most people don't have patience for this. Most people don't. So let's just get back on track. We were talking, ladies and gentlemen, about why everybody seems so drained nowadays. I can look back 20 years ago and remember what life was like, and now I can look at life here in 2021 and it's a fucking embarrassment. And that's not me trying to be negative, ladies and gentlemen. That's me being very concerned, because the way that we're going as a species now here, especially in 2021, this is not a good thing. This is not something that you just sit back and tolerate. Because if we continue to tolerate the defilement of humanity that's going on here in 2021, it's not going to look good, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm not going to get into any fine details because I can't talk about certain things on this channel. But let's just say that they're basically trying to change the fabric of common sense. You know, they want 2 + 2 to equal 5, metaphorically speaking. I think you can kind of put the pieces together if you really dig. But I'm not going to give any more pieces of information out, as I'd like to keep this channel. But people are drained, ladies and gentlemen, for a handful of reasons. One of them is because people have never had a good night's sleep. Now, you may think that you sleep good because, I sleep 8 hours a night. Well, then why do you look like you're half dead during the day? You may think you sleep good because you don't remember how many times you wake up throughout the night, and most people wake up over 20 times and they don't remember it. You may think that you sleep good because when you wake up and you have your coffee, you can go, or your prescription drugs, your stimulants. But ladies and gentlemen, most people, and there's a good chance that you, the listener, is doing this as well, most people are falling asleep with massive amounts of stress in their muscle memory. And this is why we talk about the full body relaxation exercise. This is why we talk about the importance of the full body relaxation exercise. You have got to learn to use your mind to calm your body down, because your body is in a state of fight or flight, whether you're aware of it or not. When you start to do the full body relaxation exercise, when you start to practice proper yoga, folks, you're going to start to see, you're going to be able to witness layers of tension leaving your body that you had no clue were there, that are actually controlling and regulating your quality or lack thereof of your life. So yeah, I'm glad people are taking all these, supplements and nootropics, this, that, and the other. Oh, I'm the king of health, blah, blah, blah. But you still have all of this tension in your muscle memory. Buy my sleep formula. It'll help you sleep. Buy my melatonin. No, you know what will help you sleep? What's going to help you sleep? First and foremost, the cheapest supplement for your sleep, if you really want to take a supplement, and you don't even have to eat this. In fact, you can't eat this. This will last forever if you take good care of it. The cheapest supplement and most effective supplement to sleep is a pair of Uvex fucking Skypers blue blocking sunglasses. And when the sun goes down, you put them on and you wait until you go to bed. You keep them on. You do not take them off, and you do not let a single ray of light in through your eyes. You will fall asleep better than you ever have. Your brain will start to produce endogenous melatonin. There's no need for exogenous melatonin. Create your own supply. Get high on your own supply. Endogenous production of melatonin happens in the absence of light through the photoreceptors. The blue blocking sunglasses blocks the light from all of your blue light generating devices from entering into your eyes. I mean, the solutions are so simple, and they're $10 fucking. I've never promoted expensive supplements on this channel. The most expensive thing that I promote is a Phanasomenon Flosaquil blue-green algae. That's expensive as hell, but it's not a requirement. Shazandra's a little expensive as well, but these are just supplements. The things that I suggest are the blocking of blue light, the mitigation of lighting, changing your lighting systems, and grounding yourself, as well as skincare, cleaning your skin with the Dr. Kassar skin cleaning solution, of which I've made an even cheaper version of that, where you only need the MSM, the baking soda, and the salt and the magnesium in the vodka, and then you clean your skin with it. Now, obviously, there's some other things that I suggest as well, but the foundation of health is grounding and lighting. The foundation of health is grounding and lighting, and then hygiene. Do you know how many people who are into health don't take care? They don't floss their teeth. They don't brush their teeth regularly. You wonder why you have anxiety. You have a subconscious engram, if you want to call it that, connected to your lack of hygiene. A lack of hygiene destroys confidence subconsciously. So you fall asleep here in the Matrix with massive amounts of muscle memory programming that you have yet to work out. All of the embarrassing experiences that you went through, all of the stress that you've gone through in your life have created muscle memory entrainment engram programs in your system. And unless you, like a baker, knead the dough and make it loose, this being a metaphor of you using your mind to calm your muscles down, you're going to continue to walk around with this shit in you. You're a walking amalgam of all of your stress. This is why we supplement certain supplements alongside the inner work. The inner work is the most important. Now, I'm not saying that we should just do the inner work and not take care of our diet and supplement, because no, this is a Renaissance man style weaving of the 4 realms of existence, our 4 levels of our psyche. The 4 levels of our psyche and the 4 levels of existence, the primary levels of existence, because there's far more than just the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual. But there's also 4 main layers of your psyche that we need to take care of. And popping a bunch of pills isn't going to do that. We supplement alongside the inner work certain things like magnesium citrate, glycinate, preferably a magnesium complex, because it can actually aid the relaxation process. It's like adding a turbocharger to your efforts. And obviously, the body can't just run off of positive thoughts and inner work. It needs nutrition. So alongside the emotional and mental work, we do the spiritual work and we do the physical work. We do the physical work as our foundation. This is our home. Our body is the home that we do our work in. The body is the home of the mind. Therefore, we need to take care of this body like a temple. So we start doing cleanses. We start to eliminate the waste from the colon. We start to put the minerals back into our system. We do vitamin C flushes from time to time. At least I do. I take vitamin C practically every day. We ground ourselves. We block the blue light. We eliminate gluten from our diet. We eliminate vegetable oils. We eat the right phytonutrients and we sprout foods. We try to eat foods that are as close to their living state as possible so that we can absorb the enzymes and enhance our own biofield. That may sound a little new agey, but it's true, ladies and gentlemen. All you have to do is go on a Life Force diet for a month and you will see how much better you feel. And I have an entire system called the Life Force Diet Mastery System. It's available for $20. I included a 20% off coupon code in the link in the description box below. Just enter upon checkout the coupon code and you get 20% off. This is a 3.5-hour diet course that comes with charts, a mini ebook, and a 3.5-hour video. If you want to learn to eat how I eat, buy the system. I'm not going to just explain all this stuff in every single one of my videos. I have a video that I put a lot of time and effort into that's available right now, 24 hours a day, 365 on my.com. Buy it. Use the coupon code too, because it's only going to last about 2 weeks. But we do the physical work in tandem, ladies and gentlemen. In tandem. Bear with me 1 minute. We do the physical work in tandem with everything else. You see, the one of the biggest problems is that a lot of people, they just approach health from one perspective, or anything for that matter. But here in the material realm, health is sold as kind of like a physical thing. Like, oh, take your multivitamin and wear your Fitbit and get your daily exercise and track your calories. That's not health. That is not health, folks. That is not health. You could do all of those things and still have an unaddressed, emotional, unconscious loop of energy that's destroying the quality of your life and that can lead to life-threatening illnesses. The only way that you're going to come into contact with those emotional loops is if you do the inner work, ladies and gentlemen. So what is the inner work? Well, there's a handful of things that we've gone over. One of them is the full body relaxation exercise. Then we have the thoughtlessness exercise. And we also want to practice proper yoga. But again, to stay on point, one of the reasons why everybody's drained is, again, because they're falling asleep with massive amounts of muscle, with just tension in their muscles. Your muscles don't just relax completely when you fall asleep. You carry into the dream realm your stresses. And this is why most people can't remember their dreams. They just experience a meaningless, almost, mirage, if you want to call it that. Just a visual vista, an arcade of nonsensical stress symbols in their sleep. And the conscious mind just buffers it out by the time you wake up. You're literally just killing yourself every time you go to sleep. Because you're killing yourself in the material realm. How do you fucking expect to regenerate when you're not regenerating physically? When you're not regenerating in the physical realm? Now, in the physical realm, there's much more going on than just physical stuff. You're a physical entity, but you're also an emotional, spiritual, and mental entity. So you have all this mental baggage, emotional and spiritual baggage, and you're eating the wrong food. You're grinding your gears in the physical realm. And then you go to sleep and I get good sleep. I got 8 hours last night. Well, duration is in no way, shape, or form an indicator of quality. If you want to start regenerating in your sleep, you fall asleep while doing the full body relaxation exercise. I don't know how many times I have to explain this, the importance of the full body relaxation exercise, before people actually start to do it. I know people who have been watching my channel for years who, when they reach out to me to get like a consultation or to just get advice from me, I ask them, what have you been doing? I kind of go back and forth with the supplementation. I don't really do much of the magical work. Well, there's your problem. People want to try to find solutions from people that they view as like teachers. They think that they're just going to get some magical advice and everything's going to work well for them. No, you've got to do the work. You've got to do the work. It's that simple. And it's amazing to me how many times when I tell people that, I just won't ever hear from them again, or, this, that, and the other. It's amazing how many people, and I'm fully privy to this, there's a large body of people who have been following me from the beginning of this channel's erection. It sounded kind of funny. and they're still with me. But a lot of people they'll find my channel, they'll find me saying something interesting, they'll leave a positive comment, and then like a week or a month or a year later, I'm getting hate comments from them. So I take every comment I get from people for the most part with an open heart. But I shouldn't have even brought that up. People are always changing, and people will find certain channels and they'll almost, I don't want to say deify them, but they'll like it for a little bit, and then they'll shift something on this loop of trying to find solutions to inner problems that they have yet to work out. It's all about working out your inner problems, folks. That is the foundation of health. Working out your inner problems, lowering the load of stress on your overworked body. That is number one, the thing that's going to destroy your health. Your muscle memory has got to be reprogrammed. You do this consciously through your mind. Your mind has power over your body. And the thoughtlessness exercise, the full body relaxation exercise has multiple lessons within it. But one of them is to prove to you, to show you firsthand how much power your mind has over your fucking body. It's just incredible. Haven't you all had a piece of information given to you out of nowhere that like startled you, and you could like feel it in your solar plexus, you could feel it in your stomach? How many of you have been given a shocking piece of information that was traumatic and you could feel it in your fucking body? Like someone punching you in the gut. Yeah, that's proof that your mind has power over your body. If a piece of information can go into your mind and trigger that type of somatic response, somatic meaning of or related to the body, if your body can create a reaction from your mind like that, then what the fuck do you think your negative thoughts are doing? Your negative feelings to your body. Oh man, it's all so simple, and it's all so fucking it just right in front of us, but we don't see it. We do not see it. So you can take whatever advice from other people that you want. I'm not saying that there aren't good teachers out there. I'm not telling you that there aren't good health coaches out there. But what I would suggest doing before listening to them and deifying them and glorifying them, and I see this all the time on people's channels and Instagrams. Oh, you're so amazing. Oh my God. I'm not saying that this is geared towards me because I don't get hardly any views. But I see it on people who don't deserve the views. That's often who gets the views. And the way that people kiss people's asses because they think that that person's smarter than them is disgusting. I'm here to tell you that you are just as smart. You're probably smarter than all of these businessmen out here. These gurus and all this shit. Stop deifying people. Come into your own power by deleting all of the things that are holding you back. I hope that makes sense. Now I was going to go off on a tangent in pertaining to the prior subject that I mentioned before that, but I'm just not going to. The foundation, folks, is the inner work. I've said that about 1 million times in this video, but repetition of a message constitutes mental programming. So now, here's in no way, shape, or form am I trying to say that supplementation and eating right is a bad thing, because you know for a fact, if you've watched this channel, that I preach the importance of the physical aspect of health. I'm just trying to put a nail in the coffin of the beast and show and just remind people that there's much more to this than just physicality. And this is one of the reasons why people hit a plateau. Like when people get into health, when they start taking the herbs, when they start supplementing, they'll experience like a euphoria because they're doing something new. But over a period of time, usually relatively quickly for most people, because most people are bored to death. They hop on these trends because it makes them feel euphoric, and everybody wants to feel good, but then they'll crash. And then they'll yo-yo back and forth between different diet systems in a feeble attempt to feel good and to have excitement in their life. The neatness of the new is not something that you should regard as a spiritual experience. Anytime you experience an uplifting of energy through the assemblage point shifting because you're doing something new, you should never regard that as an end-all be-all. Like these people who try these diet systems, like a keto diet for a week, and then get on YouTube and say, oh, the keto diet's everything. Oh my God, it's so amazing. And 6 months later, they're eating nothing but like white rice and sugar cookies. Come on. Stop listening to your programmed mind. Put in the inner work. Part of the reason you go back and forth between things is because you're bored to death, because you're only approaching things from the physical perspective. You have got to do the inner work. You've got to practice the magic. You've got to start practicing your sorcery. And I'm not going to tell you how to do that. That is one thing that I'm leaving open. The practice of sorcery. One thing I will suggest, however, is to familiarize yourself with the works of Castaneda. I'm not saying that those works are gospel. I'm saying, however, that some of the wisdom that Don Juan teaches Carlos throughout those books is profound. And some of it, even, is trickery. Don Juan Matus, the Yaqui Indian sorcerer, throughout Castaneda's books, I always fuck up that line, excuse me, was a master of mixing words to try to trick Carlos into doing the right thing. He would lead Carlos on, almost like playing devil's advocate, to see what Carlos would do, to see if he could reason. So, again, folks, this is the grand journey. We are all, if you're, we have the ability to engage in the magnum opus. We've got to start taking action. But people are looking ill because of nutrient deficiencies, emotional and mental engrams, spiritual deficiencies, and massive amounts of stress, as well as the current positioning of the assemblage point. The assemblage point's position, ladies and gentlemen, bear with me, we're going to start the Mitsubishi. The cultural mass positioning of the assemblage point has people locked into a state of constant entropy, which is why I mentioned sorcery, learning to shift the assemblage point to new positions so that you can experience altered modes of consciousness, whereby in doing so you can enter into more of the potential of your consciousness. Only through shifting the assemblage point and moving it can we discover new realms of consciousness. The state of consciousness that most people are locked into through their mind control is causing them to experience massive, constant entropy. It's like running a car without oil and expecting it to go 100,000 miles. We shift the assemblage point. We move the assemblage point so that we can enter new states of consciousness where we can learn to redeploy our energy into avenues that are salubrious to our growth. It's very difficult to grow when your mind is being controlled by the position of your assemblage point. I hope that makes sense. I'm not going to get into the assemblage point in this video. We've gone over it a million fucking times. So, it's a little windy out here, you guys, but we're going to go for a drive. It's really hot, and we're just going to cruise for a while. I apologize in advance if you can hear all the wind, but it is what it is. So the assemblage point's position dictates how much of our mind actually can interact with the electromagnetic spectrum. When the assemblage point is locked into the position that 99.999% of the masses have their... How would I say this? The Matrix has locked people's assemblage points into a very specific position on a mass level. And because of that, everybody looks at reality in a very similar fashion. There are not too many people in the world with assemblage point positionings that are radically alien to those around them. So simply by growing up in a culture where everybody's assemblage point is in a relatively similar position, the collective mass inertia of that bearing down on your energy field causes the assemblage point to shift over time. And when it's compounded with education and all the other nonsense that you have to go through in the non-essential medical treatments, folks, the odds are against you. The odds are stacked against you. That's part of the game. That's part of the game. So, shifting the assemblage point is key. Because through that, you will experience new states of consciousness, and through experiencing new states of consciousness, you will finally know that there's more to life. And once you finally know that there's more than just the consciousness that you're in now, you'll realize that, holy shit, maybe I'm being lied to about my lifespan potential and this, that, and the other. You see, it's very difficult for you to realize that there's more for you than what you're being presented if you're constantly just looking at the same picture. And that picture's been given to you by culture, by your peers, as well-meaning as they may be, or may have been. Do you not see this? Do you not see this? So I hope that makes sense. And there's a good chance that it didn't, because I have a very bad way of articulating things the way that I want them to be articulated. But I hope that you can read between the lines and kind of fill in the gaps if there are any. And feel free to please leave comments and questions. So, magic is the art of training the mind and learning to use your mind to control your reality. But sorcery is the art of entering into states of non-ordinary reality, as Don Juan would call them. I call it just altered states of consciousness. But there's a right and wrong way to do this. And sorcery is much more dangerous than magic. Sorcery is dangerous because you stand to lose your sanity. And that's why I don't really like teaching it. I like talking about it and recommending it, but I do not like teaching it. I could. But we don't live in the type of world that is conducive to someone trying to do that. Absolutely not. So, I leave certain things open-ended so that people can put the pieces together on their own if they wish to do so. So, you see, the first and foremost, and I hate to always make this about the assemblage point, but the reason why everybody seems so fucking insane when you start becoming conscious is because of the mass collective assemblage point positioning. Everybody's energy field is locked into the same non-salubrious position. And because of that, everybody looks at reality the same for the most part. Because the assemblage point assembles information from the world around us, channels it into awareness and perception. It dictates how much of the electromagnetic spectrum we can interact with. Kundalini, for instance, it doesn't just shift the assemblage point, it moves it. And the shift and the move of the assemblage point are very different. And that's why I say that Kundalini is literally what takes you out of the matrix. It doesn't just shift your energy, your assemblage point, it moves it. A shift of the assemblage point is when it moves within our auric field. A movement is when it moves outside of the auric field. And once this happens, you'll never be the same again. You will never be the fucking same again. There's no coming back from that. There is no taking of the you can't go back. You just can't. So contrary to what most people just assumed, there actually is a way to come out of the matrix. The matrix is a very real thing, contrary to what most people think. And we exit the matrix through awakening Kundalini. It's that simple, and yet that difficult. This is known as walking the razor's edge. So, you know, people, we've just been overly pussified, and a lot of people will say, oh, bro, why do you talk so harsh about people on this channel, blah, blah, blah. For one, because I don't approach spirituality and reality the way that most of you do. I have a massive amount of tolerance and love for people, but on a collective level, we are fucking up royally, and I'm not going to kiss people's ass. I'm not here to just justify all the insanity. Absolutely not. If you have a problem with that, I mean, you can keep projecting false positive thoughts into the world and see how far it gets you. That's one of the most exhausting things you could ever do, is to try to create positivity where there isn't any positivity. Positive thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, are useless. Anybody can tell themselves, I feel good, but do you actually feel good? Positive emotions are what you want to generate. And in order to generate positive emotions, you have to change the fabric of your mind. You don't just tell yourself you feel good and therefore you are. Anybody could fucking tell themselves, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire. That doesn't mean you're ever going to be a millionaire. You have to learn to feel it through a sustaining of feeling. You change, not just a change of thought. Thoughts are only as powerful as the emotions behind them. No one's telling you this, though. This is all so stupid out here. This is just all so dumb. The way that reality's been designed, and like the stupid little fucking outfits people wear, and like just the propping up of self-importance. It's so cringy when you get to a certain level. It is so cringy to see all the fakehood, the fakeness in people. That doesn't make me an angry person to notice these things. Absolutely not. It's kind of like how when a body has cancer, your body works overtime to try to get rid of the cancer. It doesn't just go, oh, cancer's here, let's just think positive. No. I mean, you guys have been so hoodwinked by the New Age movement, it makes me sick. Now, I'm not necessarily pointing my fingers at my subscribers, because I know a lot of you guys, ladies and gentlemen, have your mind on intact. But come on. I mean, some of the comments I get from people about, well, you gotta love everyone, bro. And I do love everyone, but part of love is tough love. It's not just tolerating debauchery, folks. There's so much immaturity in the conscious community that it shouldn't be called conscious. It should not be called conscious. So long story short, and to wrap things up, ladies and gentlemen, people are fried, and you can see it because of the grinding of gears on the emotional, spiritual, physical, and mental levels. You've got to learn to lower your cortisol levels. You've got to learn to calm your muscle memory down. I mean, come on. You got to eat right. You got to exclude the wrong foods. You got to supplement properly. You got to ground yourself, block the light, and do the inner work. And to all the motherfuckers who claim to dislike me, to all the people who have blocked me on Instagram and yada, 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 even though you still use my work, I can see it. Thank you for keeping my message alive. I appreciate it. Grow the fuck up. People, like, it's amazing how many people will turn on me or, you know, dig information out of me and then block me and then use the information like they created it. And I'm not, I'm the first one to tell you when I take pieces of information from other people like Dr. John Mumford or Philip Cooper or some other people. And some serious, you know what, lately, some people that I held in high esteem, a particular author in particular, I'm pretty disappointed. So I'm not going to name any names, but there's a certain person that pretty much, it's like, yeah, I'm not saying I dislike the author. I'm disappointed in this person's mental faculties I'm not even going to mention it and bring it up. I'm not going to mention it because I understand mistakes can be made, but unfortunately this mistake that this particular person made was a really big one. A really big one. And made me look like an idiot in the process. So, but it is what it is. I can't change the way that the cards have fallen. Yeah, I know for a fact that I'm correct in this situation. So if that's the worst that comes from this, knowing that I'm right, I'm good. I'm good. But you guys, we are in a constant state of entropy, we are grinding our gears. Start to look at things symbolically. Start to look at things metaphorically. When I tell you that we are like a vehicle, I mean that literally. Right now, we are like a vehicle that has never been to the mechanic to have a tune-up. You change the oil every 5,000 miles, folks. You got to change the spark plugs and make sure that air filter isn't clogged. So, seriously, we have tune-up protocols on this channel. We have ascorbic acid, high-dose ascorbic acid protocols. We have magnesium protocols. Magnesium, to some extent, can be considered kind of the motor oil. Not completely, however. We have antioxidant, high ORAC food protocols on this channel because there's a massive amount of oxidative damage and stress that you've not only done to your body, but it's continually being done. We've got to reverse that damage. We've got Shazandra protocols for building back your adrenal strength and entering into states of clarity. We've got nootropic protocols. We've got it all, for the most part. Light protocols, all of it for free here on this channel. We've got sleep protocols that utilize blue blocking glasses, the mitigation of lighting systems in shungite, which I sell shungite on my website, www.sacredhealingtools.com. We've got it. This channel represents one spoke in the mass spidered wheel of health. But with this channel, in my opinion, you can do a lot more than other channels, because a lot of other channels are just... again, I'm not trying to prop myself up, but what the fuck? People are teaching health from like, oh, I have my Arbonne, smoothie, or I have my tea package that I get in a percentage from the company. All these affiliate programs. And I'm not saying affiliate programs are bad per se, but you better damn well have experimented with the product that you're fucking selling, because a lot of people are just here to sell you something. It's just amazing. I look at reality from a drastically alien position than most people do, because most people have never experienced thousands of shifts and even movements of their assemblage point. You're looking at me through the lens that culture gave you to look at everything. You interpret sensory data and information according to how the system wants you to, and this is through the mass configuration of the assemblage point. Everybody's assemblage point has been put into a very specific position, and through that position you can only take in little bits and pieces of information of the truth. It's like having your blinders on, but having a little bit of the blinder open so that you can kind of see out with one of your eyes, but it's your weaker eye. Come on, folks. Come on. So establishing a routine, working on hygiene, getting your unibrow shaved, getting your nose hairs to be not visible, keeping your face well trimmed, and things like that. That is a good start, ladies and gentlemen. Something as simple as that. What do you mean, Brandon? How does that have to do with health? Well, it affects the way that you project your image into the world, your confidence levels. If you don't feel confident, look at your hygiene routine. Get your teeth to be really white. I'm not saying that mine are totally white right now, but come on. Get your teeth whiter. Floss your teeth. Brush your tongue. Clean your damn belly button out. Smell good. Present yourself in a nice, dress nice. I'm not saying to prop yourself up like an egotistical idiot with thousands of dollars of jewelry and whatnot, but feel good about yourself, folks. See, there's much more to health than just taking things and exercising. There's also, again, hygiene. Not just physical hygiene, but mental hygiene as well. Taking an inventory of your thoughts. We do this through the thoughtlessness exercise. Through the thoughtlessness exercise, we come into contact with the constant stream of thoughts that's running through our head 24 hours a day that we are unconscious of because we never intentionally go into meditation to try to hear ourselves think. What the fuck is going on here in this world, folks? This is the land of the fucking dead. This is the land of the dead, ladies and gentlemen. This is the land of the dead. So there's a handful of different things that we can do on a daily basis to really make ourselves a greater version of ourselves, folks. There's a handful of things that we can do on a daily basis to accomplish this. Anytime that you think that you've figured it all out, that usually means that you're far from figuring it all out, and that there needs to be some type of inventory of your status in life so that you can potentially change the direction of the stream that you're heading down. So I hope that makes sense, folks. I'm going to try to talk loud so I don't have to hear this person's, or so that you don't have to hear that obnoxious music. There we go. So again, my question to you right now is, how many of you have actually ever cleaned your skin with the Dr. Kassar skin cleaning solution? How many of you? In fact, I'm on my way right now to the store to buy another bottle of vodka so that I can make a new batch of the skin cleaning solution. How many of you have ever made that? How many of you have ever witnessed how much gunk came off of your face when you cleaned yourself with that? And in the past I've told you that if you don't have access to the materials, you can use witch hazel. And you still can, don't get me wrong, but witch hazel fucking sucks in comparison to the Dr. Kassar skin cleaning solution. You're going to need some vodka, you're going to need some Soleil salt, you're going to need some methyl sulfonyl methane, also known as MSM, some magnesium chloride, and some baking soda. That's how I make mine. And I also put some, sometimes I'll put like a couple of drops of some particular herbs in it, like a herbal wash. So I have that particular recipe on my Patreon page. You can go over to Dr. Kassar's channel, Earther Academy, and you can get his exact recipe, which has like fossil shell flour, which is actually really good. And I actually have some of that at the house that I'm going to put in this batch. Also known as diatomaceous earth. It's porous. It helps clean the skin, but his has like fulvic acid and some other stuff in it, and living silica, which is actually kind of incredibly expensive. But I have a modified version that's much cheaper, and I have the recipe on my Patreon page. I've shared it on this YouTube channel before, the exact recipe, but I don't know which video it's in, and I'm not gonna go dig it up. So, yeah, you guys, I mean, the skin, like, a lot of people have really poor skin health. And this is for a handful of reasons. Number one, a lot of people eat a lot of vegetable oils and corn syrups and corn derivatives. Those are going to ruin the pliability of your skin. On top of that, a lot of people eat gluten, and gluten destroys your digestive system's ability to absorb nutrients because it destroys your colonies of villi, your absorptive tissues. The non-broken up proteins from gluten, which are incredibly difficult to break apart in the small intestine, the stomach acid cannot break them up efficiently. These amino acids that have not been broken apart and liberated go into your small intestine after they go through your stomach and don't get digested. They go into your small intestine and bounce through your villi and electrocute them and kill them. Now, anytime you eat food, you're not absorbing the molecules into your bloodstream, etc., and the food's not going to where it should be going. It's that simple. It's that simple. So how do you expect to have good skin when you don't even have the ability to absorb nutrients properly? So again, go on the Life Force Diet Mastery System. Go on it immediately. It's a $20 download, and I have a coupon code for 20% off. What are you waiting for? Oh, you're charging, Sacred Serpent? You're charging? What the fuck? Yeah, it took me a long time to put that together. It took me a long time to put that together, and then when I finally had it almost rendered, I realized that something had gone wrong in the editing process, and I had to re-edit the whole fucking thing again, and there were hundreds of little pieces that had to be put in. It was a giant pain in the ass, and it's not that I didn't like doing it. I loved it, but I mean, so many of you guys just think that, oh, it's on YouTube, it needs to be free. Fuck you. Honestly, fuck you if you think that's the case. Labor equals effort. Effort equals money, ladies and gentlemen. We live in a world where you've got to pay to play. Hate to tell you, you have no problem buying your $150 shoes, but it's on YouTube, so you go, it should be free. I deserve everything free because I say so. Well, then you're not going to get it. It is that motherfucking simple. I don't care if you think I sound brash or rude. Kiss my ass. But guys, I love you all. I want you all to thrive. I want you all to hopefully utilize the lessons contained in this channel for your benefit. I believe that a lot of benefit can come from this. I've seen a lot of people on this channel leave some incredible comments about some changes that they've made to their lifestyles that have really benefited them in the long run. That's awesome. I mean, I've seen people normalize their cholesterol levels with niacin. And sure, you can use niacinamide and all that. I've been a fan of niacin for the last 10 plus years. There's a supplement salesman who just recently caught on to the power of niacin and is selling a niacinamide version of it. In my opinion, I mean, if you can do what you want, you can take niacinamide, and this person charges a massive amount of money for niacinamide. It's one of the cheapest fucking supplements in the world. I'm not going to name any names, but this person's a real piece of work. And you know who you are if you're watching this video. You blocked me on Instagram. You're just like out of control. Out of fucking control. But niacinamide, ladies and gentlemen, you don't need to buy it in some fancy bottle and spend $50 on it, or $40 or $30, however much it is. You buy it in powder. Niacinamide does not have as strong of a cholesterol regulating and controlling effect as niacin. The flushing form does. It just doesn't. Niacinamide does not have as many health benefits as niacinamide, does not have anywhere near as many health benefits as niacin, the flushing form of niacin. And especially Abram Hoffer, Dr. Abram Hoffer, who was one of the co-founders of orthomolecular medicine alongside of Linus Pauling, who was a master researcher and scientist. But Dr. Abram Hoffer, he used niacin, the flushing form. And niacin is uncomfortable. It'll make your skin flush. But as you continue to take it, it'll go away. You'll build a tolerance to it very quickly. So, I've seen people do amazing things with niacin. I've seen people do amazing things with vitamin C. With vitamin C, folks. Vitamin C is one of my favorites. Alright guys, sorry about that. I had to pause for a second. I think I left off by saying that vitamin C is one of my favorites. I could be wrong. It's incredibly cheap. Yeah, I really think that Linus Pauling was an interesting man. And Linus Pauling, for those who don't know, he lived a relatively long life. He was over 90, and he was a huge fan of high-dose vitamin C, and he took, I believe, between 3 and over 10 grams of vitamin C a day, which is considered by the system standards to be way too high. Now, I've gone through periods where I've taken 3 to 10 grams of vitamin C for months on end, and I experienced nothing but benefits: lower stress levels, better skin. Vitamin C is required for good quality skin, ladies and gentlemen. So, bear with me. Bear with me right now, folks. Excuse me, I thought I saw something in my rearview mirror, if you catch my drift. But vitamin C, it's funny because Linus Pauling and Dr. Abram Hoffer, they both lived in over 90, and they were both huge fans of high-dose vitamin therapy. Orthomolecular medicine, which uses vitamins, is one of the most interesting forms of medicine, folks. And Abram Hoffer, he would prescribe giant doses of niacin for schizophrenic patients. And I'm not going to say he cured them because I can't, but I want you to do a little bit of independent research on a search engine like DuckDuckGo on Abram Hoffer's incredible results with schizophrenic patients with high-dose niacin, which is just vitamin B3. I mean, come on. You guys are so obsessed with the problem that you're not willing to adopt the solution. So many people will get so stuck in the fear of the problem that they'll never find a fucking solution. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. So, people ask me all the time, what do you take? What do you take? What do you take? Well, I'm not going to get into that in this video in terms of supplementation. I take some specific herbs. I take some specific supplements. I take some specific nootropic compounds. And aside from that, I eat a very specific diet, which I give myself a little bit of freedom on. I mean, a couple times a year I'll not eat the gluten, or I'll eat some gluten and this, that, and the other, but for the most part, I'm pretty clean. I keep a little bit of extra fat on my system after, looking through the works of Augenis Vonderplanitz and actually experimenting with structured weight gain. I feel much better with a little bit of gristle on my system because fat is used as a buffer to absorb toxins in this incredibly toxic world. And I look at how I feel with a little bit of fat on my system in comparison to when I was rail thin. I've been ripped, rail thin, too gaunt, too buff, all of it throughout my life. And I feel best on the system that I'm on now. And I can say that with absolute assurance or conviction in my words. So, being obese when you've built the fat with the right quality materials is much different than being obese when you're full of fucking trans fats, polyunsaturated fats, and all the fucking corn oil and garbage. A lot of the carbohydrates that people eat, the elevated blood sugars, which causing the fat gain. And a lot of you guys are fat on the wrong fucking foods. Our ancestors every fucking year would gain as much weight as they could prior to winter so that they had something to fucking burn through when food was scarce. We still have those animal instincts installed within us, within something known as the environmental sundial switches. You've had your literal animal counterparts domesticated out of you, and you live in a false environment. And you think that being healthy is being rail thin and having six-pack abs? You're in for a surprise. Oftentimes what we think is right is far from what is actually right, ladies and gentlemen, and I've learned the hard way a million times before it started to solidify. So I'm not saying to go off and gain a bunch of fat and be obese. I'm saying that a little bit of extra weight can go a long way if it's put on with the right materials. You know, I mean, look at God, what the hell is his name? What was the man who wrote the book, The Provida Plan? Jack Tips. Look at what Jack Tips taught about fat cells holding onto wastes. And I'm not saying that Jack Tips taught to the idea of structured obesity. And I'm not saying that he taught that because he didn't. But Jack Tips was privy to the fact of how fat cells absorb toxins. And how when you lose your fat cells, you release those toxins into your system for your organs to burn up, essentially. So again, the detox process is a lengthy process. The weight loss process is. I'm not going to get into it in this video. I love you all, and may peace be with you.